Hey folks, Crazy Climber 80 here again, and this time we're going to look at game number 3 in our 20 from the Atari 2600 or VCS series, and this was an arcade classic created by Atari back in, released in 1981, and this is an excellent home port, and this features a centipede that descends down the screen at you, and you can shoot it and break up its body into small pieces, and this is, of course, Centipede. Now, this version was released in, I believe, early 1983 by Atari and Josh Littlefield and David W. Payne, and you really want to use the trackball with this game. You can use the joystick, but it's tough to follow a centipede head to try to shoot it down with the joystick. But I do not remember this back in the day. I had heard of it coming out, but I don't remember playing it. I like the attract mode with the centipede body wiggling back and forth. But if you are unfamiliar with Centipede, you have been living in a cave. But I'll tell you how it plays. You are the cannon at the bottom. The graphics are slightly different in the Atari 2600 port, but the gameplay is largely intact. It's very fun. You are this cannon at the bottom of the screen, and you move it around in like the bottom third of the screen or so, and you shoot at this descending centipede, and when you shoot its body, it splits up, and it has a new head on the second body, and if you shoot the head, it is worth 100 points, and the body parts are 10 points. There will be mushrooms littering the maze, and they are unfortunately just represented by dashes here, but each mushroom takes 4 shots to destroy, and you only get a point. You actually get more points when you lose your life, and the game will tally up points for each mushroom that is left, and it will get 5 points for every 2. There will also be a spider that bounces around in the playfield near you. It will be worth 300, 600, or 900. If it's closest to you, it's 900. If it's furthest away from you, it's 300. But note that shooting a centipede will turn it into a mushroom. And when a centipede runs into a mushroom, it drops down and reverses direction. The centipede will never reverse direction automatically on the same plane. Now, if you get yourself a whole line of mushrooms, a vertical line of mushrooms, then it can maybe drop straight down if it's got like a column of 2 columns of mushrooms, and it's in between. It can just drop straight down. And your cannon has rapid fire. You just hold down the button and it'll just keep shooting. It'll only shoot one shot at a time, but once a shot hits something, it will shoot the next one automatically. So if you've got like a descending centipede within like 2 lines of mushrooms, 2 vertical lines of mushrooms, it will just keep dropping straight down. You can hold down the rapid fire and just plug away and knock out the whole centipede real quick. It's a good idea to eliminate mushrooms on the left and right, just to try to keep the centipede segments from dropping down to your floor. If they do that, they will eventually work their way back up, but you don't want them being near you if you can help it. If you eliminate a whole lot of mushrooms, then fleas will drop down. They will drop straight down, and they will put up new mushrooms. There will be on occasion a scorpion that will zip horizontally across the way top of the screen, and he is worth 1,000 points, so try to hit him if you can. And any mushrooms that he touches will turn poisoned. All that means is that the poisoned mushrooms will make the centipede drop straight down if it bumps into it. And that can be useful, or it can be dangerous, because a whole centipede plummeting down at you real quick can be dangerous. But if you line it up just right in your shots, you can eliminate it real quick. Now, if you have centipede heads that you can't eliminate right away, they might start spawning new heads, and this can be a real pain in the butt. And the further you are in the game, the quicker it will make new heads. And every 10,000 points, you will get an extra life. And I loved the sound effect whenever you got an extra life in the arcade game, and I am really happy that it's in this one. This game was so much fun. But really, for best enjoyment, you want to have that trackball that was in the arcade. And they had a trackball for the Atari 2600, and you really want to get it for this game. If you have a centipede body part just barely above you, and you're following it, trying to shoot it down, and you get towards the edge of the screen, you might want to get out of the way, because it's going to come right down and touch you. But this is a great port. I like this a lot. There are but 2 game variations. The first one is regular gameplay, and the second one is much easier, much easier. The spider cannot kill you in this one, and see, it's represented by a teddy bear head. That means it's for kids. See, spider can't touch me, and it can touch me, but it can't hurt me. And the centipede might be a little bit slower, or at least to start with. But this game variation is a bajillion times easier with you not having to worry about being touched by the spider. As I was mentioning earlier, if you can get 2 columns of mushrooms and the centipede drops down between them, you can just line yourself up to shoot up that between those columns, and you can just hold down the rapid fire button, and you can take out a whole centipede in no time. Yeah, trying to just shoot down a quick centipede head without the use of the trackball controller is kind of a pain. And there's an extra life. But yeah, I remember the arcade game right when it was coming out. I think I first saw it at like Malibu Grand Prix or something. But it was great, and this is a fantastic port. As I mentioned, and as you can see, the mushrooms look kind of weird as just dashes, but the gameplay is very intact from the arcade game. This is a lot of fun. I like this one a lot, and I think it's definitely worthy of the number 3 position in my 20 from the Atari 2600 series. I'm looking forward to wrapping this series up. I've got another cool series I want to plan coming up after this. And as I said, once a centipede touches the poison mushrooms, and you can see they're flashing mushrooms, it will plummet straight down at you. once that plummeting centipede touches the bottom, then it won't plummet again. It'll go on its way back up about I think like 5 levels or so, and then it'll come back down again. Yeah, the game is so much easier on that second setting. The difficulty switches A and B, they don't have any use in this game. The attract mode says 1982 for this release, but I've read that it was early 1983 that this was released for the Atari 2600. I just love the swaying centipede body in the attract mode. This was mostly designed, I believe, the arcade original by a woman, and I'm sorry I forget her name, but there were some very good female game programmers back in the day. I had this on my on a 1980 tribute of arcade games, the original Centipede. Although it says it was 1980 in the attract mode, the arcade original, I believe it was actually released in 1981. I remember I kept wanting to call the game Caterpillar. Right when it was becoming popular, I couldn't remember it was called Centipede. I just love that sound effect for getting the extra life, and I'm so glad that they kept it intact in the home port. That was a big draw for me. It's one of the arcade sound effects I could remember best back in the day. But yeah, you really, for maximum enjoyment, you really need the trackball. I don't know how much they charged for the Atari 2600 trackball back in the day. But yeah, try to clear out some mushrooms on the bottom area, because those centipedes will drop down in reverse direction when they touch them, and if there's one on the second to last level, then it could bump into that and then come right after you. But yeah, you can tell how much easier the game is when you don't have to worry about running into the spider. I was never great at Centipede by any means. I got better, but I was still not good. But once you play the easy version, or the easy game variation with the teddy bear head, you'll feel like a world champion. The game is so much easier. Oh, yeah, they hit the mushroom and came back and touched me. I don't know when it was, but there was at some point on the Atari... get out of the way. There was at some point on the Atari 2600 games, probably about 83 or so, where where when you plugged in a cartridge, there would be kind of a rainbow-colored Atari logo. I wonder when they did it. I think it was somewhere around like 83 or so. I remember seeing that and thought that was kind of cool. But yeah, I was really impressed by this port. It just completely captures the feel. Wow, the Scorpion got really fast there. It completely captures the excitement and feel of Centipede. So yeah, if you've never played this one, definitely check it out. once I conclude game number 2's video, I will have a little special, yikes, I'll have a little special video on the games that I thought were just missing the cut, but were still good games. My honorable mentions, and perhaps some guilty pleasures, and perhaps games to avoid for the Atari 2600. You might be able to guess that E.T. would be on that list, and I'm thinking definitely. Some people have tried to defend E.T. for the Atari 2600 and said, oh, no, give it a chance. No, I didn't think it was very good. And it could have been better. Could have been a good game. Yeah, see, I'm able to at least whittle down some of the centipedes. If you have 2 columns of mushrooms that the centipede can wiggle back and forth between on its way down to you, and you can line up your gun and mow them down. Oops. But by this point, look at all the extra lives I've accrued. The game will flip over once you reach 100,000 points. That kind of sucks, but this is still a fantastic game. I have yet to play, I believe, Millipede for the Atari 2600. There was a release of the sequel to Centipede, and of course there was an arcade release of Millipede in 1982. It was not as well received as Centipede. It wasn't bad by any means. I kind of liked it, but I kind of liked Centipede more. Atari added like a bonus wave, a whole slew of new enemies to the gameplay of Centipede, and gave you the opportunity of starting at a later wave for a bonus of more points. Yeah, I get annoyed when you're later in the game and it only takes a matter of seconds for a new centipede head to pop up when you're trying to eliminate the last one or the last few. Yeah, see, I'm able to whittle through a few centipedes in quick succession. It's kind of nice. Whoops. Yeah, you sure don't get a lot of points for the mushrooms that are left at the end of after you lose a life. So don't rely on that to get you towards an extra life. You know, towards 100,000 or 10,000 points. But yeah, we'll see me pass or roll the score over, and then we'll wrap up this video. But yeah, my next series after I finish this one on the Atari 2600, I'm going to move on to the Intellivision, another second generation home console. I like that one. I did not own it myself. I played it at a friend's house down the street. But some very good games for that system. It had better graphics and better music. I like the color palette for the Atari 2600 better, I think. It was a legitimate competitor to the Atari 2600. It did pretty well. It had a huge price tag when it came out. But that was Centipede by Atari and Josh Littlefield and David W. Payne in 1983. This is Crazy Clown Race. Thanks for watching Centipede game number 3 in my series, and I'll see you soon with game number 2. Have a good one, folks. Bye bye.